is only war.
All right, gents, thanks for clicking on the video. If you guys want to support the channel, go over some coaching options. Wait towards the end of the video. We'll go over all of this merch and the Patreon. But guys, I appreciate it, and let's go Dirtbag Nation. All right, what is up, gents? 40K Dirtbags podcast. We are back with Keevil. Talk about competition, mindset, and all the filthy details that make this game what it is. Welcome, Keevil.
Hey, what's going on, man? Yeah, this is something that we've been talking about for a while, and then we just got back from LVO, and emotional intelligence used in in this game is huge, and I think it's one of the things that that can absolutely be used to calm the temperature of the emotions that flare up during the game.
We really talked about, like, that's kind of the biggest thing we learned at this LVO compared to other past events. Like this, the tournament, the players that we played, for me, I think we're 50-50, where you really needed emotional intelligence to kind of like read the person and figure out how the game state's going to go. So that's why we thought that this would be a really good topic, especially for number 2 of the podcast, episode 2, coming back right after LVO. So we just got back this weekend, and we had a basically day to rest, kind of catch back up from jet lag. So Key will put together this episode, and it's going to be a good one. I feel like we can do an entire 5-part series video on just these topics. So this is going to be a really good one.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so like we said before, we're going to reach out to the Patreons and get some input for what you want us to talk about. So we got Jake, chosen one, and basically he was talking about, he sits at a 20% win rate. I was coaching him for a little bit with CSM, and then he moved on to Space Wolves, and newer player. So we'll talk about a little bit of self-reflection. We also had...
Well, Jake's got he said that he's got a 20% win rate right now.
Yeah.
So, basically the first, this part of it is really just giving shout outs to all the Patreons. We're going to be doing this probably every podcast. So if you guys aren't Patreons, join the Patreon, Dirtbag Nation. You'll have a Discord link where you get to message us and kind of give us ideas and stuff to talk about. But like Jake sitting around 20% win rate, I kind of post that up in the Discord, and with that, like, you kind of have to read. There's a lot of stuff that you can read based off of like your win rate. Keeble's a great example because he tracks everything through his app. Like, he knows exactly what his win rate is for the past like 2 years. So when you're looking at like a 20% win rate, there's a lot that go into it. Like, how many games have you played? How many games have you played at an RTT? How many practice games have you played? Like, a lot of it is like, where are you playing this and who you're playing against? Because are you going against people that are going to coach you, or are you going against people that are just like dickheads and they're just going to stomp you and not really teach you to get any better? Because like, if you're brand new to the game and you're starting and you're going against really good players, you might be losing most of your games, but are you winning with knowledge and getting better at losing? And then eventually you'll bounce up to like 30, 40, 50%. And then once you're at the 50%, you're starting to understand, like, all right, you're about to like win and lose probably half of your games and stuff like that. So when you're posting like 20% win rate, take a step back and be like, what part of this is 20%? Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, I would agree. So it's like, is it primary? Is it secondary? Is it everything? And then we talked about this before, where you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most, and then in here, the 5 people you play the most. So choosing your practice partners is huge. And I think it's good to have a variation. So the way I break it up is I have at my level and above, at my level, and then at my level and below. And, and another part of that is, so not only are you playing your, people who are 100% better than you, I have the luxury of playing you on a regular basis, but I also need to play at my peer group. And then I also need to play people who are worse than me. And that gives me 2 opportunities. One, it gives me an opportunity to coach, mentor, teach. But then also, like, winning is a part of the game, and learning how to win is a part of any game, and learning to win like with grace and confidence, I think is huge.
So next shout out is our boy Pork Chop. He's a
Roger.
3D printer. If anybody's interested in some really good 3D prints, hit him up on Discord on Pork Chop. So shout out to Roger. Basically just brought up my Tau opponent on stream. So if you guys want to check out that stream game on War Games Live, Joe, awesome dude. It was probably one of the top 5 worst opponents I've played. And at the end of the game, he got a yellow card. So it's funny, like having the Dirtbag Nation like comment and watch the stream and kind of like see what I'm experiencing, and kind of like keeping the emotional control over an opponent like that takes time. Like it takes a lot of experience, a lot of reps to kind of see this opponent and not match them. Because if you match them, it's you're both getting yellow cards. It's a terrible experience for everybody around and watching. But if you're trying to like see them and control what's going on in the game, we're going to be talking about that in our own video about that game. But yeah, so he brought up the Tau opponent, and I just had to say that is perfect with this emotional intelligence and 40k podcast that we're doing. So shout out to Pork Chop.
Yep. The next one we got is Nate. He's a CSM player, big Melta energy. He wants us to make shirts. He made an AI one. It's freaking awesome. But Nate asked about as far as endurance throughout a GT. And we hit on this a little bit, but I mean, I think it's everything from hydration, diet. Like day 1, I fasted, and I had like a Quest bar for lunch, and then we went out to dinner, tons of salt. I woke up the next morning, I felt like shit. My watch is like, what are you doing to yourself? And I just threw all my stats in chat GBT, and it was like, dude, no shit, you feel like that. Like
Go
eat a
outside,
breakfast,
get air, eat something, drink something.
yeah, eat a
Keeble's
light
watch
lunch,
yells at him.
go outside. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna do what the AI says. So I 100% think all those things are important. I've even seen guys like footwear,
Mhm.
I think is important. I've seen guys at local GTs, they bring those like kitchen mats that are like padded.
So
Some
smart.
guys travel with them, and that's like great for your knees, ankles, back. You're standing for 10 hours,
Yeah, if you
so
can sit down, like either after the game or during breaks, do that. Like trying to stand for 9, 10, 12 hours is not good on the joints at all. But it comes down to water. Like most tournaments have water, like refill stations, or by the bathroom you have the water fountain, which they had one of those like put the cup in, it comes like right out. So a lot of places have that, and just constantly drinking water and snacks. Like Kiva loves snacks, so bring snacks with you. Ibuprofen, have a whole bottle with you, because that could definitely play a big factor in it. But yeah, that's kind of how you're surviving a tournament physically, and then mentally, it's just talking it out, talking to people, trying to have a good time, stuff like that. So mentality, but mainly physically.
cool. Then we had a little quick discussion between Spooky and Kane, and Kane was saying at his local LGS, they play kind of like chess rules, where if you take your hand off the model, like it's done. What are your thoughts on that?
That's actually good. I was gonna talk about that too, because when I saw that, I was like, "Damn, that is harsh." That could be a test match, because Kiva, you talk about this with your dudes that you used to train, where you would play like speed chess and kind of like get their mind focused on tactics, all that stuff. That could be a good practice going into like a GT. But anytime you're going into a GT, you want to be practicing and getting the best game that you possibly can. So when I feel like, all right, I'm going to move this one guy up, and then once I take it off, I see something else that I probably should have done. Like, fuck, these guys over here aren't going to do me anything, so maybe they can go this way. Now that's like one take back that you and your opponent could definitely do. But in a video that you saw on YouTube with my opponent, he basically moved 5 different tanks and then try to move them all back at the same time. Like, that is a big no-no. I should have called that out right then and there, but the judge saw that, and that's one of the reasons why he got a yellow card. And obviously everybody on YouTube saw that as well. But I think the practice match of like the chess clock thing, where once you move your hand, it's done, I don't like that. I don't think it's good to practice with, and that'll definitely make the community toxic if we actually go based off of that with the chess roll. Because chess roll, you're moving one piece, and that's it. 40K, you might be moving 200 pieces. And it's a big difference, with chess and this. But again, if you're practicing, sure, you and your opponent can be like, hey, no takebacks, which is one thing. But I really didn't like the once you move a hand, you're done, because I've taken back a ton of stuff in a bunch of different situations. So what do you think?
I think there's I think there's a big difference between infantry and then vehicles. So there were a few games where I I move blocked myself and it was in deployment, and I'm just like looking at this and I'm like, okay, you know what? Next game we're not going to deploy like this. Um and honestly, so all of day 2 was search and destroy. So the game afterwards, I put more in strat reserves, just to give myself a little bit more breathing room. And I mean, that's a big thing. So it's like infantry, I think is different. If I'm moving, if I'm trying to move around my, Abaddon and Chosen dudes, like I'll roll the advance and then I'm looking to see where I'm going to place him. And then like infantry can kind of move around like wherever. Whereas like vehicles, if I've got a Forge Fiend, a Hellbrute, and a Venom Crawler all tucked in a corner, trying to get shots down one firing lane, I got to I got to make some decisions, and that's a part of the game. Move blocking, not only for yourself but for move blocking your opponent. So I think I think there's a little bit of gray area, but then on top of all of that, that's a part of the game as far as like what's the game plan. And I got this from you where you're like, okay, what's the goal? And in your command phase, before you excuse me, move anything, you're like, all right, this unit's going to move here. We're going to charge that. This unit's going to move here. I'm going to shoot this unit. And saying that out loud not only tells your opponent your game plan, but then it makes it more of a interactive game. He knows exactly what you're doing. He knows what your intent is, right? And I think playing by intent, which we'll talk about later, is an interesting topic because, again, define intent. And I think that term got a little too loose within tournament play
Yeah,
in
I,
general.
I agree. I think a good standard you can go based off of what we were describing is take backs after knowledge that is gained. So once you gain knowledge, then obviously you can't take something back. But if there's something that you can do prior to gaining that knowledge, then obviously you should be able to take it back. Again, to an extent. Rolling in advance, like if you roll a 1, you're like, oh, I don't want an advance anymore. That obviously is prior knowledge that you learned that you probably can't take back. Killing a unit or going into like a different phase, can't go back if you've already done something in the new phase. My opponent, for example, he forgot to shoot a tank into my backline Poxwalker unit. Well, I've already got my secondaries on my turn. We've already scored his points. We've already got, to the next step, and I rolled Tallyman thing, right? So I did all those steps in my phase, and he goes, oh, I forgot to shoot this guy into your back unit. Well, I was like, okay, sure. It was the first turn. I was like, fuck it. Here's go. Does it, kills like 2 Poxwalkers, but now they're out of coherency, so I have to remove 2 more Poxwalkers to put them back into coherency. So I just lost 4 Poxwalkers for my opponent at a top table, after, prior knowledge. So he knew what my secondaries were, yada, yada. So that probably shouldn't have happened. I shouldn't have let him have that take back. So that's my example of take backs and, lifting off your hand of a chess thing.
Yeah, my rule of thumb with takebacks is, let's just say it's the first charge, and and this is where it gets gray. So if a guy is like, hey man, this is going to shoot this, cool, and he forgets, if I know that that's what he wanted to do, I'm going to remind him of his game plan. Like, you tell me your game plan, I'm going to help you execute your game plan, whether it's movement, whether it's rolling dice for you, whether it's helping you measure, whatever. Like, I feel, if you say what you're going to do, it just makes the game go that much faster if if you're helping each other. And I got this from you, where if someone's complaining about their dice, just start asking them to roll critical things for you, advances, charges. Even I've let them do that to kind of just like calm the temperature, which that's the whole point of this episode. But if it's a like 2 phases later, it's like, hey, look, I'm sorry, man. Like there's been too much, game knowledge.
So I guess that
So
leads us into emotional control as a skill.
yeah, and not so much. I mean, well, I think it's so you brought this up years ago where when you just mentioned emotional intelligence in general, we were kind of shooting the breeze about something, and you were like, well, you and I have like similar emotional intelligence, so that's one of the reasons we get along. And after this LVO, again, we're talking about it all day Sunday, and then on the plane ride back, we took the 1 a.m. Red eye. Um, how this is an important aspect of the game where it's not like TTS is a great tool, but TTS is kind of like driving, where road rage is much higher than if I'm running a marathon and I cut a dude off. No one's like, hey motherfucker, like no one's giving me the finger because I cut them off, because now we're face to face. um you know so, what are we talking about with emotional control? Like, what does that mean to you in general? And then let's break it down into 40K.
I mean, 40K is almost like baseball when it comes to 10% physical, 90% mental. So we always did that going into like the baseball season and practice and stuff like that. When you step up to the place, you think you're going to strike out, you're probably going to strike out. If you think that you're going to have a bad game, you're probably going to have a bad game. It's the same thing with that, where you're trying to like keep your mind state right and just be positive. So when people like blame dice, that's probably one of my most annoying pet peeves that people have, is when they blame dice for a dice game. Like the amount of times that we roll dice throughout the stage thing and they're blaming dice. Yes, some games you roll like shit. But some games I'm sure you roll like gods, and it's the average of the law, where no matter what, it's gonna bounce back. Like, and a lot of times when I'm playing people and they call me out on either dice or I say, hey, your dice are amazing, you kind of bounce back and be like, oh, did I just roll 5 1s? Like, did you see that? I just rolled 5 1s. Holy shit. Can you believe I just rolled 5 1s? And I'll fuck around with them because now I'm pointing out that, like, yes, I had bad rolls as well. So, yes, I might have rolled 3 6s, but this next roll, I just rolled 3 1s. So they only pick out the good rolls, even though you rolling the dice are rolling bad. So that's one of the biggest things about emotion control with dice specifically, is you can't control it. You're rolling and you're just going to play the best statistics odds that you possibly can and always overcommit. I actually have a whole video about overcommitting on units and getting your points back on YouTube, where if I have to kill this unit, like I need to kill this unit on the point, I might line up 300 points to kill a 70-point unit, because I need to make sure that my dice, if they do shit the bed, I have enough backup to try and kill that unit to make sure that I stop the points that they're trying to do. And that's emotional control, by not assuming that, these dice are going to go bad or good. It's all up in the air. So keeping control over the gameplay is going to help you win more games. Losing control over your gameplay is going to make you lose more games, because you're going to keep blaming dice. After blaming dice, your attitude starts shit in the bed. Your opponent's not really going to help you out, and it's just going to go downhill from there. And you're like, oh, if I would have made that 9-inch charge, I would have won the game. Well, bro, don't fucking rely on that 9-inch charge. It's probably not going to happen. So what could you have done to back that 9-inch charge up with something else, or not rely on that, so that way you could still win the game, So I feel like having that control of your attitude throughout the game is definitely going to help you win a lot more games.
Yeah, so for me, that's so it's 2 parts. One, positive mental attitude, PMA. That's a big Army, Marine Corps, military thing. So keeping a positive attitude is just always good in general. But something else I was thinking of today, if anyone reads Stoicism by Marcus Aurelius, I read it years ago. I recommend reading it probably every 5 years. But one thing that has always stuck out to me is remain the same in all situations, whether it's birth of a child or in death. Just be the same in all situations. So how does that relate to 40K? I do the best that I can to remain at least what I'm projecting, and that's in my face, that's in my body language, that's in the words that I use. I try to be the same whether I'm winning, whether I'm losing, whether the dice are good, whether the dice are bad. Just try to be the same. Just be like, I don't want to say like a boring person. Like a good example is if my opponent is kind of doing a risky play, right? I have no control over him doing that risky play. And let's just say he needs let's just go the 9-inch charge thing, right? Let's say he needs a 9, he gets a 12. Dude, be excited for him. Like, that's awesome. There's also games where, and we talked a little bit about this last episode, where you win and lose on a 4-up. And I'm sure, plenty of people have had the game where you win or lose on a 6-up, and then your opponent gets it and wins. Dude, like, be happy for the guy.
Yeah.
Like, that is the exciting part of rolling dice in general. And then on the other side of that is I failed a 6-inch charge. Like, 6-inch re-rolling charge. That's not a bad play, and I'm going to do that play 100 out of 100 times, and sometimes you fail it. One of my opponents, round 2, this kid's 20. Seth, what's up, dude? First LVO, he's there by himself, and he was playing knights, completely demolished me. And but throughout the game, right? He's nervous, and I'm like, hey man, we're gonna have a good 5 rounds. And dude, he crushed me. And that doesn't mean I'm gonna be all poopy pants about it. Like, hey, let me get your number. Who are you here with? I'm here by myself. Dude, come to dinner with us. And we hung out the second night. Went to sushi, drank a bunch of sake. But again, like, you have to separate yourself.
We didn't.
What's that?
We didn't give alcohol to a minor. He didn't drink any.
No, we did not. But yeah, so he's drinking Cokes or
Coke.
whatever
Coke Zero
kids drink these days. Anyway, yeah, so be the same in all situations. So in terms of emotional intelligence, for me, I think it comes into where it can be used in the game is matching your opponent. So and when you match your opponent emotionally, what you're trying to do is you're in like layman's terms, you're just trying to synergize with the guy, and then that allows you to maneuver off of his emotions. So I might have someone super high energy, what's up, dude? Bah! And he's got a bandana on and he's just all about everything. Dude, I'm gonna match his emotions to get us to the same level, and now I can kind of bring it up or I can bring it down.
I mean,
or if I got a guy who's like, go ahead.
Yeah, like the only way you're gonna match and like kind of read their emotions is if your emotions are under control. Like if your emotions are not where you want them to be, you're never gonna be able to kind of like get up to that point where you can read people and kind of see where they're at to try and, like you said, match them. Because once you lose your control, you start snapping, speeding up, sloppy play. Like it just leads to downhill momentum. But like when you have your emotions under control and understand dice and understand like I have to keep doing what I'm doing and not blame stuff that's out of my control, that's going to help you start like reading your opponent's energy and kind of guide them through that situation or that scenario. So adjusting your opponent or adjusting the energy to guide the flow and redirect the energy instead of like fighting it. So you were saying like you kind of match everybody, and I feel like I'm the same way. Like if they're super energetic or excited the first game, you're gonna have a good game almost right away. But if they're like kind of like the opposite and like don't really go out and talk to a lot of people, that you have to manage that game the best you possibly can, which was kind of like my day 2 second opponent, where before like as we were setting up, we had to go get the judge, like measuring the objective. He didn't understand sarcasm. He didn't understand like how other people might be right. He always has to be 100% right. Like have you ever measured an objective from the edge of the objective when setting up objectives on the table?
So I did in the very beginning, and then I clarified it, and I was like, "Hey, where are we measuring these things to? Center or the edge?"
And was that like in the very beginning?
Yeah, like the beginning of 10th.
Like when you first started, yeah. This guy was like no, you measure from the edge. And I was like, no, you measure from the center. Then he literally pulled out his phone and showed me the app. I was like, that's the center. So he's like, no, it's not. I was like, okay, man, let's just go ask the judge. Like, and again, I'm smiling because I'm just like, I'm reading that he is kind of like that type of player where you're not really going to have a two-way conversation. It's just like this, and that's it. So I just literally walk up to the judge. I was like, hey, I know you probably never get asked this, but where do you measure the objectives when you're setting up the board? And he like looked at me like, is that a serious question? And he knows me, right? So I'm like, yes, that is a serious question. And he goes, from the center, and the guy is literally standing right behind me. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And we just walk back to the table. And I was like, that's the start of our game. Great. So now I have to fucking measure and talk to this guy that same way throughout the entire game. But you have to be able to realize that. Like, I'm not going to argue with him or like combat him, be like, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to go get a judge and he's going to answer the question that I already know what the answer is. So,
yeah, and that's a great way to calm the temperature, just essentially grabbing a mediator.
mm,
But like, if you come across an introverted person, which is fine, we're pretty extroverted, and I do this every single time. Like in the same way, I have like these are the basic questions I'm going to ask about an army if I'm not familiar with it. Like every single time, advance a charge, fall back and do things, uppy, downy, lone ops, stuff like that. Well, I have a little kind of like checklist I go through as we're setting up the board, or even before we're talking about armies. Like I will spend maybe 3 minutes. Hey man, where are you from? How long you been playing 40K? What got you into 40K? And from there, I'm gonna base my like, kind of, where do I need to match this guy? So if I get an opponent who is pretty introverted and doesn't like talking much and is very awkward, which is fine, like I'm just gonna keep asking questions just to get them to like lower their guard, open up a little bit. It's like, dude, we're playing games all day. Like, let's like have fun doing this. And I'll comment their models, even if their models, don't look very good. Look, you got to find positive in something. Be like, hey man, that you painted that thing really well. It's like, oh wow, and that now you just found a way to like build rapport, shoot the shit, and to me that's a big part of the game is managing that, because when things go sideways and you see their emotions kind of fluttering out of control, I will try to just be very, very like chill with them. I've been told that I'm not a very empathetic person, so I'm not very good at giving sympathy. But again, like, because and I do this with my sons where, so my youngest son is 8, right? And teaching them how to win and win without being like a douchebag basically it's something that you have to be told. You were taught that, where my two sons, Jace has just turned 15 today, and then Jaren, they're playing NHL. Or which one were you guys playing last night?
25.
25. Yeah. And my 8-year-old crushes Jace, but he's getting a little bit better at not being like, man, I beat your ass, Jace. And I'm like, dude, chill. Like, you can win and not be a butthead, or I'll bring it down to his level. But also, losing with grace, right? Like, hey man,
oh,
I just got
takes
flat
a
out
lot of
outplayed.
practice.
What's that?
That takes a lot of practice, losing with grace.
Sure. For sure.
You said something that I was literally about to comment was like when you kind of read that they're not, again, introvert. A lot of people are introvert in the game. Like I could even consider myself a little bit introvert if I'm not on YouTube and stuff like that. But you're kind of seeing how they are, and we started the conversation, or we started that game off the way I just described it. Instantly, I did what you did. I was like, dude, and I'm like leaning in the table. I'm looking at his models, like they look like crap, but he painted them, right? And same with me. I'm not a good painter, but I painted them, so I feel pride that I have all these models painted on a tournament GT setting, right? So I'm excited. So I know he would be excited about the same thing. So I lean and I see like some of his models are like custom with like green stuff and super bright and all that stuff. I'm like, did you do that? He's like, yeah, I did it when I was like 16 and this, and then he points this other model out like, hey, this is the guy's head exploded. And like, then he's like, look at this model. And it's like, he's now opening up, like you said, because I just mentioned one thing. If I would have just kept that to myself and like be like, hey, fuck this guy, I'm gonna murder him, right? That game is not gonna be fun. He's not gonna have fun. You're not gonna have fun. The escalation is gonna be really high. Take a step back, open it up, trying to find a common ground, something that you both like, both into, and then kind of like start the game on a friendly note. And that kind of helped out a lot of him opening up and us both doing like a friendly game with either takebacks or telling him about reactive moves. I forgot his reactive move. He let me move somewhere else. He forgot my reactive move. I let him move somewhere else. So like that started off a positive note. When you have a guy like my third game, the Tau player, never got to that situation. He was always like boom, 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 like hitting my head down the entire time, try to open up. Like it never got to that point. This guy got to that point, so we were able to have a fun game. So like you said, find something that you can open up about and have common ground, and it has to be painting, even if it looks like crap. He cherishes it just like you cherish your models, so that'll be something you both have in common. 100%.
Yeah, for sure. I think you said something else good. Like if the conversation stops, so round 3, I'm playing Necrons, and he had, I think he had 27 minutes left going into 4, and I was up by quite a bit. I was like, dude, I think I can take this, and he kind of just went. And he was super loud guy, again, fun. I'm gonna match the energy. Had a great time with him, but he went like internal, and he just stared at the board state for like a healthy 10 minutes. And I know what he's doing, right? You know what he's doing. I know what he's
I do
doing.
the same
He is
thing.
like,
Yeah.
how exactly,
Yep.
like, how am I going to win this? But again, like, I see that this is happening. I'm gonna give him his time, but I'm also gonna help him manage his time. So I'm like, yo, Steve, talk to me. Talk to me, Goose. Like, what are you thinking, man?
What
And
are you
he's
thinking?
like, all right, cool. And then he breaks out of it. And then, but at the end of the game, he took the win. We were playing Purge. And I was like, hey, man, you did a really good job of like kind of locking in and figuring out the way to win. Cause he was a little upset about dice in the beginning with his DDAs, and then his dice were like out of control at the end. And he even mentioned it. He's like, "Oh, I guess they decided to play now." But like, so we're like feeding off each other, and like that's how it should be. And like a lot of people, if they haven't played the Abaddon Hellbrood crit 5s combo,
Free Hellbrood or not free Hellbrood?
not free.
Okay, so you paid for it. Got it. Okay.
Definitely paid 130
Paid
points.
for Hellbrood.
Title of my list, I have a Hellbrood. I was like, here he is. And which is just the funniest just the funniest meme. But anyway, someone's like, oh my God, look at all those 5s and 6s. Well, my army does something with 5s and 6s. If your army doesn't do anything with 5s and 6s, then it's not as impactful to you. So if someone's complaining about, oh my God, look at all those 5s and 6s with full rerolls, critting 5s, lethal sustain, dude, like a Forge Fiend can take out a Warrior Brick by himself with those tools behind him. And if my opponent doesn't have that, and they're a little salty about that, which of course I explain all of that. I'll see them roll, and I'll be like, look at all those 5s and 6s, and they're
Yeah.
just like, yeah, you're right.
Yep.
And it's like, if you're an opponent who has an army that doesn't have rerolls, and on top of making risky plays, it's like, dude, go play an army that has rerolls. Like, I was going through the new Space Marine Codex, because we're going Space Marines. And I'm like, I don't remember any of this. So I'm just reading everything, and I'm like, who has rerolls in this? That's like my first instinct to go to, coming from CSM. And I was like, oh man, I'm looking at First Company
Everyone.
Task Force, which I don't know how they're not bad. I guess I'll find out once I finish my first army and start playing. But like, their O target gets 4 rerolls to hit and wound. Sick, dude. Right? How's that not good? So I'm interested to see how that busts out. But anyway.
So I mean, all that is, again, practice, experience. Like, you'll eventually learn how to manage yourself, and the better you manage yourself, the better the games are going to be, because then you can read people and use less mental fatigue and stuff like that to get each game through. And when you're going into a GT playing 6 to 9 games, it's a lot. Like you're by the end of day one, if you haven't really prepared yourself, you're gonna be fucking tired. Except Keeble, because he always goes 3-0 the next day. But on day two, like you're going to be even more tired. And me and Keeble, like we usually do the RTT on Sunday, so it's like 9 games. We decided not to do it this year. We kind of like hung out and walked around Vegas and explored that because we were just so tired, especially like a 3-hour difference and drinking all night. You have to be able to endure and practice like getting up to that point. And so I feel like by round 5, like your biggest opponent is yourself, like just the fatigue of mental and physical exhaustion. Like how did you feel after round 5,
Well,
or I guess starting round 5?
well, I think before we go into that, well, I think it's all the same thing. So when I went to my first major competitive shooting match, right? Your local matches are like seven stages. I mean, it's similar to 40K in terms of you're there all day. I guess a big difference is you might only be shooting for 30 seconds, 30 to 60 seconds in a stage, right? So your total game time might only be like 5 minutes, and you just spent, 9 hours, there doing the thing. Whereas in 40K, right, you it's 3-hour rounds. But when you go to the level 2 matches or level 3 matches, the bigger ones, it's like 10 stages, right? Sometimes 12. And I called my shooting dad around like noon, and I was like, dude, I am like wiped out. And he goes, how much did you drink today? And I was like, I looked at my Nalgene, which I always carry like some sort of Nalgene on me. And I was like, I haven't drank any water. He's like, all right, Marine, well, how about you like drink some water, take some Motrin? I was like, oh, change my socks too. But that's the same thing in 40K. So when I started playing RTTs, I would get a headache after round 2. And talking to other guys, like same thing, it's that mental fatigue. So, having like a pill pack with you. Actually, I travel a lot, so the Pepto Bismol, Dan, awesome run. He's the guy who ran the 30,000 Zone Terminators.
Oh,
He
he
was our
crushed it.
roommate. He was like super nervous, and I was like, I quick, chat GPT, hey, I have these meds. What should this guy take for like kind of nervousness right now? Because he was throwing up a little bit. And I was like, hey, here's some Pepto Bismol. And like this dude's not a weak guy. Like he was a joint fires observer in the army. Like so we're shooting the shit about Afghanistan the whole time. And I mean the dude has been in intense situations, but again, like 40K, we talked about this before, stress is stress. So for me, I'm going to preemptively I'll take 4 Motrin or 4 ibuprofen in the morning. Preemptively, obviously drink my water, drink my vitamin C, do all those things. But yeah, of course, by round 5, like you are wiped out. And I kind of just want to like chill somewhere, which is, I love traveling for tournaments. That's one of the only unfortunate things about LVO and Vegas in general, where it's hard to find like a quiet area just to like turn the volume down. So we went golfing on Sunday at Top Golf. You crushed it. That was fun. But we found like the inside place. It was like super quiet. And like, what do you want to do? I was like, let's just like chill here for like an
Just
hour,
fucking
just to
chill,
like
watch the
turn the
finals.
volume down. Um,
That was cool.
and yeah, it was just nice, Um, so
I mean, Nate Fletcher, longtime dirtbag, but surviving a tournament isn't just about knowing the rules. Like you could win. I great example myself. Like I can win a GT by just being less fatigue or having less mental stress than my opponent, because then that leads to mistakes. And like if you can't go a full 9 rounds by playing, high level 40K, you're not going to win like that top level. Like Nova last year, we played 9 straight, and I'm running 200 plus models on the table. My back is steel right now because of that. But it's not just about knowing the rules, it's about knowing how to take care of yourself in that situation. So again, I have fucking Mike to thank for that, because I was never as I am now without him. Like I would never take fucking IBs throughout the day. I would never like have all this water, have little snack packs I just never do that. And until Mike kind of really got into that situation, it's like it helped me go even further than what I could have done by myself. So thank you, Mike. Appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure, man.
But yeah, surviving tournament, you don't just have to know all the rules, because that's not going to get you to the top. It's knowing the rules as well as being able to manage that mental fatigue.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of just tying up some things here. Back to Jake with 20% win rate. I was playing Roger last week, and we were just talking about, stats and win rates and stuff like that. And I showed him my 9th edition tournament win rates, and it was like 39%. And again, back to defining success and failure, like this season I'm at like 56. So like for me, like that's huge.
And your meta
finding those
as well.
Yeah, agreed. So I think it's a combination of a bunch of things, right? Like if you want to get better at something, you are not going to get better at 40K playing once in a while. Like if you want to get good at the game, you have to dedicate time, not only throughout the day to study data sheets, because that's a huge one right there. If you can go into an RTT or go into a game, like that should be a little kind of ticker in your head of like, how many times did I have to go back to my phone because I forgot something? So
How much time did you waste doing that? Yeah.
Right. So studying throughout the day, I study every day on what I'm going to do. I mean, everyone takes a shit every day. You have time when you're sitting down doing nothing, like instead of insta facing or whatever the kids do nowadays, read your data sheets and then dedicate, hey, I am playing once a week. And then especially getting ready for a tournament, you definitely want to, for me, I have to play every map. Um, and I'm gonna backtrack my time to make sure that before that GT or even that RTT, at least one of the missions, right? They usually send out the missions like the week prior, so you can, your last practice game or so, you're playing one of those games, and then for a GT, 100% if you can play every single mission. And if you're really low on time, busy with work, life, kids, like I get all that, play day one, round one, and day two, round one, in my opinion. That's kind of helped me with those. Or if you have one like you, for an example, like Purge is like that's the, especially when you're playing Chaos Cult, that was the mission for you to lose. So we spent a ton of time on Purge. So I think dedicating, time to rehearse your stuff throughout the day and then dedicate time throughout the week. And if you can't do that, which I mean, that is life, right? That's life. Then 20% is just kind of where you're going to be at. And like, that's okay. I've been playing competitively for, I guess, 4 years now. And I'll be honest, man, I'm just now, I still went 2-3, at the Nova Prep, and it was a brutal GT, but I didn't define that as a failure. I defined, or, not where I want to be. I defined it as, okay, well, who are my opponents? I'm looking at everyone, and everyone's like top 10 and something in some division. So I'm just like, oh my goodness, dude. Like now I reframe wins and losses to, well, what was the differential between the scores, right? And then bottom line, at the end of the day, I was listening to a 6+++ today. They're freaking awesome. And their podcast this week was about getting ready for the next season. And they use the SMART algorithm to define their goals, right? It's like specific, measurable, and I forget the rest of it, right? But you can Google SMART. And but one of the guys was saying, and this is true, this was me last season. He's like, one of my goals from last year to this year was I wanted to have more fun because I wasn't having fun playing last season. And
That's
I was
awesome.
like, dude, I felt exactly that way. Like I was done last season and I was like, I don't even think I want to play 40K anymore. And like, that's crazy, right? You invest so much time, money, energy, effort into doing this. Like if the fun is starting to go away, like I'll be honest, LVO last year, I was like, I just want to get out of here, dude. And that's not like good, right? That's not positive. And so one of my like internal goals for this year is like, I just, similarly, I wanted to also just have more fun. And you can still have an amazing game and lose. And it was fun. I had a good time. We're laughing, we're joking, we're shooting the shit, we're jonesing each other. And it feels like you're just back in your garage back when we first started playing, and we're just two dudes hanging out. Like the world doesn't matter. We're doing this right now, and we're gonna have fun. So
Quick note to that, like last LVO, which was in January, I think that was when you switched up your list at the last minute. You're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna run bile," and like just go into the fucking meat grinder and just like not have any fun, because once you go into that without like practice, you're now stuck 6 games of playing the same list that you don't like, right? And then like, it's just not
yeah,
gonna help with the attitude throughout the entire thing. So
yeah, for sure. And that look, I'll be honest. We've been talking about all this emotional control and intelligence and shit this whole time. You don't think I would walk to the next game being like, fuck everything? Of course I did,
fuck,
right?
fuck
Like,
this
but I
weekend.
was like, I'm like, I go to the bathroom, wash my hands, rinse off my face, and I'm like, just be a good dude and walk back out there. And hey, man, whose fault is it that I did that? Me. So
But then look to now and do complete 180. Like the last couple of months, you really bunkering down, focusing on like what you're trying to do. Even right at the very end, you're like, I think I'm running. Like, no, shut the fuck up. Like you're running this that we've been practicing. You'll have so much better time and more fun this way. And you did, and then boom, now you finish LVO this year 4-2. Like that
yeah,
was insane, huge difference. And that was definitely a way better time than last year. And again, the motion helping out was huge. So that
yeah,
really
I appreciate it.
leads us into like post game, because when you lose the game, and you can kind of tell sometimes with deployment, like we always go back to Roger, because Roger plays me and you, and he would deploy his army. He's like, I already fucking hate this list. Like you're already deployed, and you're like, I don't like this. So knowing like post game what you want to tweak, I have a whole video on that, like tweaking like little things like GT prep, but you want to tweak little things, not complete 180 and switch like your whole detachment if you're trying to prepare for a GT. So post game reflection is huge with emotional intelligence and realizing what you can get better emotionally and physically with the game. But what emotionally is really going to drive like your decisions on what you're going to do next game, you know?
No, 100%. I mean, it's there's a phrase in close quarters battle, CQB or CQT or CQC or whatever the kids are calling it nowadays. But it's all the room clearing stuff, right? It's all the Rainbow Six Siege shit you see. Well, when you're doing that for real, we have a phrase called fail fast. And I have carried that into everything in life, right? If you're in the moment, you're doing the things like the mission is not over until you are back at home on your couch doing whatever. So LVO started when I picked you up at your house, and it LVO ended when I dropped you off. And then the whole time we're talking about the game, we're living in the moment, we're doing the things. And if I lost round two, and I was like, all right, man, fell fast. I'm going to shake this off. Who's the next opponent? Necrons. Okay, cool. I have the tools. Look at the list. I was like, okay, look at the mission, purge. All right, I think I can do this. And just reframing my framework from the loss and being like, hey, this is going to be a new experience. It's a new 3 hours. It's a new guy. It's a new army. Um, and again, like I said, if you have to go find a corner or look at yourself in the mirror like I have to do sometimes, and it's like, hey man, lock it the fuck up. Like, let's go. And go back out there, put a smile on your face, and go do the things. That's kind of my advice on that, going from game to game, and then GT to GT. And at the end of the day, like, you're not going to lose your job over this. You're not going to die. You're not going to get anyone killed. Like, it's serious, but it's like not that serious. So, if you can walk away from, hey, I had a great experience with this person or these people, then that's good. And you also want to make it a pleasant time for your opponent as well. Scott came, had him day 2, Black Templars player, and he's like, "Oh my god, the Dirtbags." He's like, "Love what you guys do." And I was like, "Hey man, I appreciate you not saying, 'Are you the guy?' when I usually have to be like, 'No, I'm the other guy.' So the game is still up in the air at this point." And he's like, "Oh man, I'm super nervous." And I was like, "Scott, we're gonna have a great time, dude. Like, I promise you. Where are you from?" And then we just go straight into it. But I hadn't played Black Templars yet, and he was running triple rep X, and
Damn.
I'm like, "How many rerolls you get?" And he's like, "Oh, dude, within 12 of anyone." And
All
I'm
of
just
them.
like looking at the board, and I was like, I mean, dude, I barely won that game, and you know, had a great time and great dude, friends on Discord now. And I mean, that's how it should be, right? Win, lose, whatever, have a good time. There was actually one instance where he got a sword brethren squad out with two of their homeboys, and he was doing this charge into one of my objectives that I had. I think I had a rhino on there, and I had some legionnaires, and then I had legionnaires in the rhino. And so he charges in. He's like, I'm not going to be able to get everyone in. And because of like how we connected and everything, and he was cool and stuff, I was like, Scott, you can 100% do that. He's like, for real? So we lift up the terrain, and I'm like, you're going to do this, 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 and this, and this. And he's like, oh, so if I just pile in like on an angle, I can get more guys in. I'm like, yeah, 100%, dude. Like, it's not just like the core rules book where it's like you just the models go from here to here, right? You have those 3 inches, you just need to move closer. Well, anyway, of course the sword brethren nuked that squad. I think the one the castellan nuked him by himself, but I'm looking at it and I was like, whoops, I put him outside of the building where my Forge Fiends can shoot him later. I was like, hey, look, man, did that all make sense? He's like, yeah. I was like, but we're not going to do that. He's like, okay, why? And I was like, because I would feel really bad if I just showed you how to do this, put you outside the wall. You would never do that because I'm covering that angle. That'd be, it feels bad. So you know how to do it now? He's like, yeah. And then cool. We move him back. Just the Castellan needs to go in anyway. And then the squad's wiped out. They're behind the wall safe. And I think that's how it should be. So if you can take a moment and help your opponent achieve what they're trying to do is the better way to play. And then also just keeping in mind, like, whoa, did I just put them in a bad spot by accident? Right? Like, hey, like take the time, fix it. The outcome's not going to change, but the temperature, the emotional temperature will stay where it needs to be.
That could also be like when you know kind of the game's going where it's going, because sometimes you're going to win the game, so you can really have moments like that, especially at a GT. Like RTTs are for fun, like you're going to get 3 games in a day and you can help each other out like the entire time, and if you lose it's whatever. But a GT, like, you're spending money, you're going out there, you're traveling, you do all this stuff. Me and Mike talk about this for a lot. Like, you're not telling your opponent how to beat you, you're telling your opponent how to get better at the game when you see where the game is at. So
Yeah.
Mike last year has lost some games at a GT setting because he's like, oh, dude, if you just do that, I can't do anything. And they're like, oh, really? I didn't even think about that. They fucking do it, and then Mike loses. So it's like you gotta see kind of where the state is. So when Mike says all this, it's because he knew that the game was going where he's going, right? And if the guy doesn't know what he's doing, it's probably going to be your game anyway. But you want to help him not just get tabled and not learn anything, especially when you walk up to table and like, hey man, you're a dirtbag, yada yada, and like that's obviously how the game's going to start off because you guys are both boys. But does that make sense? Like, you don't want to like just give your opponent the game because you know what to do more than he does, right?
Well, I think I developed the habit when we were streaming like once a week,
Yeah.
and we're just talking our butts off about everything. And there were even times where you were like, I didn't even think of that. And then you like yelled at me at this one RTT where I was just explaining the end. I was like, oh yeah, like he had this, this, and this, and he had no idea what to do. And I was like, oh dude, just do X, Y, and Z, and then you win. And you're like, why'd you do that? I was like, right, why did I do that?
Like, you tell him at the
So
end of the game, like, you probably could have
yeah,
done this, this, and this.
yeah, for sure. And again, now just to reiterate, that's completely different from someone being like, hey, I am going to do this. And if you see like what they're like, a good example is you have a fight first unit,
Oh yeah.
and they're sending a unit in to tag everything, and they're going to send the other unit to wipe it out. Like, okay, cool. He clearly understands the strategy on how to do this. Yes, I will help you do all of that because that's what you're trying to do,
And
and it
also
just
telling
makes
your
it way
opponent
faster.
that you have fight first. Like when you get your entire unit, like fucking Death Company, out of a Rhino to go charge like your assassin, you be like, hey, remember she has fight first, and like don't get to the charge phase and be like, oh, she has fight first. Like that's the
Right.
biggest fucking gotcha dick move. Nobody's gonna want to play you ever moment. So like those situations, always tell your opponent. Like always tell your opponent knowledge that they should know. Like I have reactive move, I have this, I have that. But don't tell them like, hey, if you pile into this unit over here and then pile into my assassin, I can't get fight first. Like shit like that, they should already know. But you can just tell your opponent, hey, I fight first. That's a
Yeah, or
example.
another good one is Insane Overwatch. So I have Insane Overwatch, and I'll see them moving, and I'll flat out remind them again, hey man, I can Overwatch 24, the Forge Fiends right there. Do you still want to do that while they're moving? So I'm not wasting their time
Yep.
as they're moving out. Another thing is like, hey, I can loan op 18, all of these things. And I say this every single game. Hey,
Every turn, yeah.
I will tell you
Yeah.
in your movement phase, I will remind you all of that stuff. And again, no one unless you're trying to bait me, which that's a whole nother part of the game, like, or you're trying to bait someone, you move one model. Do you want to Overwatch? They're like, nope. You're like, how about this guy? And they're like, nope. And you're like, damn it, he is waiting. He's waiting for this one. He knows that I know that he knows that,
Yep.
that he, so
So I mean, like, all this is good. So this kind of like leads us to really the closing thoughts of this. But emotional intelligence is a huge competitive advantage. You're going to be able to see the situation before the game even starts on how the game's going to go. And if you can read that and kind of guide it to a better experience for you and them, you're definitely going to have a better competitive and I guess more enjoyable experience at GTs. And
yeah,
most of this like GTs, like RTTs, you guys can fuck around on the whole time because like RTTs, you're just there for experience. Like you might just run fun lists at every single RTT like I do, but most of the time is going to be for GT situations for people that you probably have never seen or talked to before from all over the country, if not the world, and you're going to have to be able to read them and kind of understand it pretty quickly.
yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't control dice. You can't control the terrain. You can't even control who you're going to play. Sometimes you get paired up. Sometimes you get paired down. But you can control your attitude. You can control your mindset going into that game and trying to maintain, that positive mental attitude that will. You shouldn't be poopy pants on a Saturday or Sunday, and we're just rolling dice, playing games, having a few drinks. Like we all come to 40K to kind of escape reality, in some way, shape, or form, and talk about the game, talk about the lore, talk about the hobby, all the things.
Control what you can control. And 90% of that is your attitude and mental fatigue and emotional intelligence. But huge shout out to our Patreon nation, Dirtbag Nation, all of our Patrons. Obviously, we wouldn't be doing this without you guys. Thanks so much for the support. If you guys are interested in coaching, competitive dirtbags, anything like that, you head over to the Patreon page. It's in the link below. If you guys are watching this already, because we post all these ahead of time on patreon.com, so you guys get to watch these videos before they hit YouTube. So you have that little perk and advantage, plus the Discord by itself. Like me and Mike are talking like in the Patreon tab most of the time. That's kind of where I'm at 99% of the time, unless I get tagged in another thing like, hey, Chaos Space Marines, Dirtbag, tagged you, or somebody tagged the Dirtbag. But yeah, huge shout out to the guys for the Patreons who posted in the Patreon tab to what we were going to talk about today. Jake, Porkchop, Fletcher, Kane, Spooky, like all you guys really helped shape this episode. So many more episodes to come. Obviously, this is episode 2. But yeah, Mike, final thoughts?
Actually, I did forget one thing. 2 shout outs to two channels. We'll post the links below. One is the consortium. One of the guys, I met my first LVO, and I've seen him, I think, all but 1 year, the last 5 times. So they just started up a channel, and then we met the Mastercrafted guys. They were super cool.
Yeah, they were.
Trying to do like a collab thing, which I think would be super dope. They're way taller than I thought they would
They're
be.
fucking
But,
huge. They're like giants.
yeah, but
And
they
I'm
both did really
6'1",
well.
I'm looking up at them.
Yeah, but they did really well. So go check out their stuff. And then, yeah, until next time, stay composed, stay competitive, and always stay dirty.
Stay dirty. All right, guys, like I said, thanks for sticking towards the end. This is all of the merch. We have some options too. You guys can message me one-on-one on Discord if you guys are interested in any of these. We have some proxies that you guys have access to play in the game. We have the Cypher, which is badass. We have the Tech Priest, which usually has Grey Knight bits. We have the Phobos Librarian. We have the Phobos Lieutenant with Combi Weapon. We have the Caldus Assassin, which is one of the best prints we have. The old school Codias, and now the new Lord of Contagion. You can't get this model anywhere unless you buy some really expensive thing, but the Lord of Contagion, awesome print. That is up for sale as well. The poker chips are great for sticky objectives. Those are coming in packs of 5. Then any of these stickers, usually we throw those in for really high orders, but if you guys want some stickers, you guys can get those as well. Now these widgets, they use them every single game. It's the 6-inch, 4-inch, 2-inch, 3-inch, 1-inch widgets. We are having a special on those. They're only $10. We do have upgraded ones as well with the black 40K Dirtbags logo. So if you guys are interested in any of those, message me. And then lastly, we just updated Rexar Laser's website. They do have laser lines. These are so rare in our community. It's crazy. And the ones that FLG have, they just die so fast. These are so strong. You can see them from across the room. They're insane, but Rexar Lasers are doing the Dirtbags logo on them because they are awesome sponsors of the channel. So head over to them in the description below. And they also have terrain pieces as well, which is if you use the code word Dirtbags in the checkout, you get free shipping on anything over $50. And now my favorite part of it is the merch store that we had set up for about a year now. It's doing very well. I love seeing these at tournaments. I love when you guys come up to me and you have the Dirtbag merch on. This is always updating. So if you guys don't have something, message me. We can always put a new logo up of something that you guys want to purchase. But we just upgraded a couple of the new Chaos stuff on here. But check out, like, they just look so cool. The red, white, and blue logos, they're on hats, they're on shirts. We have a bunch of different options and armies for you guys. You have the little Nurgling logo, which is sick. There's mugs, coffee mugs, which you can fit your whole hand in there, which is super clutch, and a bunch of the 40K Dirtbag logos as well. But like I said, if any stuff you want on here, message me. But this stuff is in the description below in all my videos. This is how you support us and rep the Dirtbags at your local tournaments. What is up, gents? 40K Dirtbags here. If you guys are interested in joining the Dirtbag Nation over at patreon.com, you get a bunch of perks. What we did in 2024 was we really expanded. I had traveled a ton and I played my ass off in 40K. Right now, we're ranked #1 best player in the United States on ITC rankings. We were the #1 Chaos Space Marine player in the world this year in 2024. 2 years ago, we got ranked #1 Grey Knight player in the world, and this year we're probably going to go into Death Guard, hopefully when the new Codex comes out, or Emperor's Children. But you guys, if you guys want that head coach or that coach always in your corner just to ask questions, bounce ideas off, that's what the competitive Dirtbag and the Dirtbag Nation is all about. If you guys want to support the channel, you head over to patreon.com. You can join the Just a Car tab, which is $5 a month. You guys get access to the Discord Patreon tab. You have to be a patron to get into that Discord, and also I'm always there. All the other coaches are there. Basically, it's just such a good community over on Discord that you guys get specific access to it that only Patreons can get. If you guys want to bump that up, the competitive Dirtbag tier, you guys get to message me or another Grandmaster or another Dirtbag coach over the Dirtbag Nation to have unlimited
questions, list ideas, list reviews, and bounce ideas off of. That's what having a coach in your corner is all about. If you guys want to bump up to the Grandmaster tier, that tier you get every perk under the sun. So basically you get access to Discord, you get one-on-one coaching, you get a call once a month if you guys would like to go over any RTTs coming up, any GTs coming up, any list reviews live over Discord chat, and also a special perk that Grandmasters get if you guys want any video suggestions like we do all the time with these table setups that we just upgraded thanks to the Patreons. You guys get suggestions or battle reports you want to see specifically played live by a coach or myself on the next battle report, or a live battle report coming up on the Patreon. So you guys get obviously first access to all the videos. We post them first on patreon.com, but there's just a ton of benefits to having a professional coach that plays this game all the time at the very, very high competitive level in your corner at all times. And that's really what the Dirtbag Nation is all about, getting you guys better at 40K, the basics, and being good in your community. So if you guys want to support the channel, I really appreciate it. Couldn't have done it without you guys in 2024, 2025. I am super stoked for, super excited for. If we really want to get a bigger studio going, that is going to be my focus in 2025, is really growing the community on YouTube and Patreon specifically. So thank you so much for 2024, all my Patreons. If you guys are interested in joining and want that coach in your corner, head over to patreon.com and support the channel. Appreciate it.